welcome to the first episode of Unbothered-ish. I'm your host, Avery, and today we are going to be discussing Madison Beers' memoir, The Half of It. To start out and kind of dip our toes in the water, we're going to do a quick summary to kind of get a feel for the book. If you have not read it, just letting you know there's going to be some spoilers, so don't say I didn't warn you. So this book follows Madison Beers' mental health journey as she started out being famous so young that a lot happened throughout. So we're going to get into that. So first up, I want to get started with talking about the structure and some of her stylistic choices. So I really love how she shows her emotions rather than telling. Like when she was dropped from her label in the book, one of the quotes I pulled was, "It was a lot to process at 16 years old. I believe I'd fumbled my one shot at my dream, and I'd spend the rest of my life regretting it." This quote shows how absolutely gutted she was when she was dropped from her label, and I feel you don't really need to read the whole book in order to find that out from that particular quote, which I think great execution. Next, another example of her showing and not telling is how she relates to the audience. She does this a lot throughout the book, but something that I pulled that I felt kind of showed it the best was another stylistic choice she made was relating to the audience, and the quote I pulled was, "So different types of pain can all exist at once. It's not a competition of who has it worse, and someone else's pain doesn't take away from your own." I felt this was really important because there gets a point where everyone's just comparing how much pain they're in, but not really, and thinking, oh, that person's in more pain than me. My pain doesn't matter. But the thing is, it does. We're all going through something else. I think that was a great way to put it in the book. As she related to it, other people can relate to it. Great choice. Now we're going to talk about the themes I saw in the book and kind of how she tied everything together. So a big one that I noticed was when her explicit pictures were leaked at 15, and then those same pictures were then leaked again at 21. At 15, she kind of reacted with being completely broken. She didn't talk to anyone about it. She felt like the villain. Everyone was making her out to be the villain. Obviously, at 15, you don't really know. And to have that stuff leaked around was clearly very painful to her and her mental health, to the point where she ended up locking herself in her house, which I get. I mean, it's something that's very personal to you, and if you trusted someone with that, you wouldn't want everyone else to be seeing that. At 21, when they were leaked again, she did realize that she was the victim and that this was illegal, really releasing these kind of photos of children. So she kind of took back her pride. I'm trying to think of the word. She put out statements to her fans and kind of told them how she was feeling, and she found that a lot of her fans could relate to it, like trusting someone and then realizing later on that they weren't the one that should have been trusted. And I think seeing how she grew from 15 to 21 in that situation was honestly pretty inspiring, just to see how growing up makes you realize not everything's your fault, which I think is kind of a great message. Another, obviously, like the main theme was definitely mental health. And a quote I really loved was, "Being loved by thousands didn't mean I loved myself. Not at all." Which I think is a common misconception about celebrities, that, oh, they have the good life, they're famous, people love them. But just because all these people love you doesn't mean the most important person, yourself, loves you. So I thought that was a really great message, especially because her audience is pretty young, like overall, like teenagers, young teens, young adults. And it's kind of a great message to kind of carry with you. Just because you look up to someone doesn't mean they're not struggling as well. Overall, I really loved this book. I felt she did a great job of being raw and vulnerable, and she really gave a chance for the reader to connect with her through multiple different areas. She even had journal entries throughout the book, which I loved. I thought that was really cute. It kind of gave a chance to get out some of your thoughts in the book, something like personal to yourself, which kind of makes the book a little bit more personal, which I loved. And overall, I'd give this book 5 stars. I definitely recommend it, especially if you are struggling with mental health. This book definitely feel like would help you. Okay, so this has been Avery with Unbothered-ish. Make sure to tune in for later episodes. They'll be about all sorts of different things, music. That's the only one I can think of right now. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.